Welcome to this module on digital literacy skills and generative AI for instruction. Basically, this is a module where I will be introducing you to different digital tools that will be useful as an instructor. But of course, these days we cannot ignore generative AI. So we will be talking about generative AI and how to use generative AI to enhance the productivity as an educator. So let's get started with trying to understand digital literacy, right? So what is digital literacy? So if I have to read out the definition, digital literacy is the ability to find, evaluate, create and communicate information using digital technologies, right? So which means that all these four aspects of it, of digital information, is something that we have to be able to accomplish using digital technologies. Now, let's go into the digital technologies first before we try to understand how to do, how to find, how to communicate, how to share, and so on. So when we talk about digital technologies from an educator's point of view, I would like to split that into the software aspects of digital technologies and the hardware aspects of digital technologies. Of course, what is more significant from an educator's point of view is the software. Nevertheless, I would like to talk about the hardware aspects as well subsequently. So when we talk about the software aspects of it, so there are several elements, there's several types of software that that is useful for an educator. Okay, so it could be the personal productivity software, the learning management systems, the content editors, ERPs, and so many other such tools, right? So let's slightly look deeper into each one of them. Let's try to understand software for enhancing productivity. So examples of productivity enhancing software includes the most familiar Microsoft Office, or if you are using the open source version, it could be LibreOffice, and even Google offers an entire suite of products for productivity enhancement, right? So these are essential technologies, tools and technologies that every educator must be familiar with for the purpose of creating presentations to be used in the classroom, for creating the documents that is needed for the administration, for creating course syllabi document, and for sharing lecture notes with the students, right? So the ability to use these digital tools becomes imperative. Now, there are a few tips. I'm sure all of you are already using such tools, but I would like to share a few tips that are very important for all of us to follow as educators. Firstly, we should try to use licensed software, right? So especially when it comes to using tools like Microsoft Office, you will see that sometimes it may display a band indicating that this software is not licensed for use. Now, what is the importance? For one thing, it is just incorrect to use unlicensed software. But more importantly, what may happen is you may not be able to explore and exploit the full capabilities of unlicensed software, right? So that is one very good reason why you should always use licensed software. In fact, I would like to inform you that licensed software is available at a fraction of the original cost for educational use, right? So if you are an educator, you register yourself as an educator using your official institutional email address. Most of the software is available for you at the concessional rates. So there is really little reason why we should use unlicensed software. Now, of course, if you are trying to explore new tools, you can always start with the free tier. Most of them will give you a 30-day full-featured trial period. So that is something that that you can always start with. But most of the tools will stop functioning beyond that free trial period. That is when you should choose to get yourself a proper license. And as I said, educational license is generally quite affordable. I would like to add at this point that although I am listing some software categories here and trying to give some examples, I will be giving you actual proper demonstration oriented best practices of many of these popular tools. So you have to wait a little longer for that. The next category of software that is quite useful would come under the category of digital content management, right? So these days, as educators or course instructors, we look beyond the PowerPoint presentations or documents, right? So we have to mostly create images, work with images. So we should know how to work with image editing tools, right? For example, you might be taking screenshots from many websites or even from documents, and suppose you have to withhold some personally identifiable information in that. Somebody's name is there, somebody's picture is there. So before you add it to your slides or share it with the students, you may want to blur it out, right? So to that extent, you need to know how to use image editing software for the purpose of editing these images to be useful for your own purpose, right? And of course, these days we also would like to include videos as part of classroom instructions. You may be creating your own videos and attaching it to the slides. So you need to know how to work with some basic ability to record videos, right? So that is also becoming a very essential digital literacy skill for educators. Now, while we are working with lots of these other types of content, most of the times we end up struggling to locate, the content. Where is it? This is something I created for this semester, and I want to use it. I created it for one course, and then I want to use it for another course. So most of the times it becomes a big, Herculean task to even figure out where you stored it, how do you organize this digital content, and so on. So especially with audio, with images and videos, it is exceedingly important to be able to locate it, right? So what you have created. So it is useful to use content management software. It could be installed locally, or you can use online content management software. The most important part of this content management software is they allow you to tag your digital content, right? So you can add tags such as the keywords of the subject, of the topic of that particular image, some description of the image, and of course the date and timestamp will already be there. So these digital content management tools allow you to give you a very flexible search option based on date and time anyway, but more importantly, they allow you to search for content using tags. Right. So for example, Google Photos is an example of a digital tagging. Similarly, the Microsoft Suite also offers you, tools, online tools with which you can tag and retrieve images very easily. So that is an additional useful tip that I want to share with you. And also, when you are working with other types of documents such as the PDF documents, right? So feel free to learn how to annotate PDF documents, right? So annotation with the PDF documents is very useful not only for students but even for educators, right? Now, suppose you came across a very interesting document which explains a very complex concept. So as an instructor, you would like to look at that document, and then you would like to make your own notes. So the old-fashioned way of making notes is on the notebook, which again is difficult to manage, maintain, and then carry and so on. So you should become familiar how to annotate it using digital annotation tools. Right? So if you look at any of the popular PDF readers, the PDF readers allow you to annotate the PDF document with your own notes, right? So, and then you save that document with your own notes. So before you go to the class, you can open that particular document and read through it, and along with your own notes of the summary of what you have understood and which you have to go and explain to the students. So to the students, you can again share the digital copy of the original PDF document. So students can also be encouraged to make their own notes later on, right, after listening to the lecture in the classroom. So these annotation tools can be quite powerful in many, depending upon the type of the tool that you are using. They allow, of course, at the very least, they allow you to type, but many of them allow you to add additional hyperlinks which provide more information, so that it becomes a very self-contained resource for you to use as part of the classroom instruction. Okay, and the another tool that I want to talk about when it comes to digital content, right, other than documents, of course, are videos, right? So videos and audio podcasts and things like that. So if you come across an interesting video or an audio podcast, for example, it is very, very useful to know how to transcribe that, what kind of tools are available to automatically create a transcript of the audio of that particular that is present in that video, right? So this can serve as an extremely useful lecture notes for you, right? So that also becomes an additional resource for you to be able to use in your classroom instruction, right? So as it is, you would have noticed that most of the videos you can enable the subtitles, right? So which is essentially the ability of the tool to automatically listen to the audio that is coming and then create the subtitles. Now, most of those tools also allow you to create a transcript, right, of that particular video, and then you can save it for your future reference, right? So that is a very useful capability that you can exploit, that is available in many of the tools that are there. Okay, so what I want to mention is that we have to enhance our ability not only to work with presentations and Word documents, but there is enormous wealth of information that is out there, which is beyond these documents, right? So they are present in the form of videos, they are present in the form of audio, and so on. So it is a very important to add to your digital literacy arsenal, the ability to make the best use of it, and the ability to convert that into text and save it as a reference document for yourself is extremely useful. Let us now try to understand about an extremely important tool, software for educators, which is the learning management system, right? So learning management system is an invaluable asset for any educational institution, which is useful for storing, sharing, and organizing instructional material, right? So you could be teaching 4 courses, 5 courses, right? So you will probably, the traditional way of organizing all that information is to have it in different folders within your computer, but there is nothing wrong with that. But where that becomes a problem is how do you share it with your students, right? The old traditional way of sharing it with the students is through email, right? These days institutional student emails is also becoming the norm, but if that is not the standard practice in your institution, sharing it becomes an extremely difficult problem, right? So if you have a learning management system, you don't have to worry about using emails every time you want to share content, right? So these learning management systems have the ability for you to upload files and documents that you want to share, and without even emailing any of that, students can log in into that same course that of which you are the instructor and have the ability to access all of that content, without bringing email into the picture at all. So this will be so useful for you. In fact, once you get used to this approach of using learning management systems, you will even stop having the need to carry your laptop to the classroom to make your presentation. So all you will do is upload the presentation of today's class into LMS. You walk into the classroom, open up the learning management system, and then download the presentation right there in the classroom without having to carry your laptop to every classroom. So that is an exceedingly convenient proposition for using learning management systems. Of course, I will be trivializing the capabilities of a learning management system by saying that this is just a useful mechanism for uploading files and sharing files, but there are countless number of other useful ways of using learning management systems. For example, you can use learning management systems to organize your assignments, right? So what is the normal way of doing assignments? You will probably send them an email with a PDF document saying that this is this particular assignment which you have to submit. And what do the students have to do? Students have to complete the assignment and probably email back the response of that particular assignment. At least I am glad that we have gone beyond the days of giving a printout of the assignment and the students hand writing the assignment and slipping it on our office doors. At least we have gone beyond that. But even this digital way of administering assignments is not very productive or useful. So what we should be ideally doing is that, having utilized the learning management system for what you should be ideally doing as part of the learning management system is to create an assignment right there, wherein you upload what is the activity or the task that they are supposed to do, and also at the same time allow the students to submit their assignments online, right? And in fact, you can even set deadlines, you can do the evaluation, so many other features are there. In fact, this aspect is so important that we are going to have a complete exclusive module on a learning management system called Moodle. Okay, so because it is extremely important for every instructor to be familiar and absolutely fully conversant with the capabilities of at least one learning management system, and Moodle happens to be an open source learning management system, which you will get a lot of hands-on experience on that later in the session, right? At this point in time, I would like to also tell you that not all educational institutions use learning management system at this point in time, right? If you happen to be in an institution where LMS is not fully institutionalized, this is an opportunity for you to actually learn about LMS and also be a champion in your institution for the purpose of installing it, and because it may be possible that the IT department within the institution is not aware that it is now possible to institutionalize a learning management system very easily. So you might as well be that champion who tries to install and get it done for your educational institutions, which will not only benefit you for your own courses, but it will benefit your colleagues and other people, other course instructors of your institution, and actually it becomes a part of the institutional culture, right? So this digital literacy aspect of it is incomplete without an institutional use of learning management system.